เปิดเผยความลับของจักรวาลผ่านนักเดินทางแห่งกาลเวลาเพียงเมื่อเราเดินทางสู่ภายในเท่านั้นที่เราจะค้นพบจักรวาลที่แท้จริงนั่นคือสัจจะเกี่ยวกับตนเองการเชื่อมโยงกับจิตวิญญาณสูงสุดการดำเนินไปของวงจรละครโลกสิ่งเหล่านี้เลือนหายไปจากความทรงจำของเราค้นพบคำตอบจากนักเดินทางผู้มากประสบการณ์กว่า40ปีจากพระมกุมารีมหาวิทยาลัยทางจิตของโลกซิสเตอร์เดนิสลอเรนซ์ทุกวันพฤหัสต้นเดือนเวลา 8:00 ถึง 9:30 น.ช่วงเช้าเริ่ม4 มิถุนายนนี้ Reveal the secrets of the universe by the travel through time. Only when we take the inward journey will we discover the true universe, the forgotten truth about the self, the supreme and the eternal world drama. Find your answers from the experienced traveler, Sister Denise Lawrence, senior teacher over 40 years from Brahma Kumari's World Spiritual University. Every first Thursday of the month, commencing the 4th of June, at 8 to 9:30 in the morning. เราขอต้อนรับผู้แสวงหาสัจจะเข้าสู่การเดินทางผ่านกาลเวลาจากปัญญาโบราณสู่การดำเนินชีวิตสมัยใหม่บางครั้งเราคิดว่าความลับที่ลึกล้ำที่สุดของชีวิตสามารถพบได้ในวัดวาหรือในสถานที่อันลี้ลับเท่านั้นด้วยการเดินทางที่ยากลำบากยาวนานและไกลแสนไกลสัจจะกล่าวว่าผู้แสวงหาปรากฏอยู่ในทุกรูปแบบและใช้ชีวิตในหลากหลายวิธีสัจจะกล่าวว่าเราไม่จำเป็นต้องไปที่ใดไม่ต้องซื้อตั๋วเครื่องบินไม่ต้องเก็บเป้สัมภาระแต่เราต้องพร้อมที่จะเดินทาง We welcome you, the seekers, to travel through time from the ancient wisdom to the modern way of living. The truth is that the seeker can come from many different backgrounds, living all kinds of lives. The truth is that you don't have to go anywhere. No bags to pack, but you do have to be ready to travel. ท่านเคยมองดูท้องฟ้าประดับประดาด้วยหมู่ดาวที่งดงามในความกว้างใหญ่ไพศาลของจักรวาลหรือไม่ท่านเคยอยู่โดยลำพังในเวลากลางคืนเช่นนั้นเพื่อครุ่นคิดถึงความหมายที่แท้จริงของชีวิตหรือไม่อะไรหรือคือสัจจะที่เป็นสากลท่านคือใครท่านจะไปไหนหลังความตายอะไรคือสัจจะที่เป็นสากลฉันคือใครฉันจะไปไหนหลังความตายฉันกำลังทำอะไรอยู่ที่นี่เวลานี้การเกี่ยวพันของจักรวาลและมนุษย์ให้คำตอบในตัวตนและปัญญาที่แท้จริงภายในขอให้เราค้นพบความลี้ลับของชีวิตและโลกจากการร่วมรู้ความหมายของภาพและสัญลักษณ์ในจิตใจของเราเอง Do you ever look at the sky and adorn the splendid galaxy and admire the infinity of the universe? Do you ever linger alone in the night, pondering the true meaning of life? What is the universal truth? Who am I? Where will I go after death? What am I doing here now? Relation of the universe and human answer to spirit and soul are in our inner true self and innate wisdom. Let us explore and reveal the secret of the universe to different pictures and symbols in our mind. นี่คือสัญลักษณ์ของกุญแจ7 ดอกแห่งการรู้แจ้งสำหรับนักเดินทาง This is the 7 keys of enlightenment of the traveler. First, the light between the eyes, แสงระหว่างดวงตา Second, the alpha point จุดอัลฟาเจ้าแห่งแสง Thirdly, the silent union การหลอมรวมในความเงียบสงบ Fourth, the justice of karma ความยุติธรรมแห่งกรรม Fifth, the never-ending cycle วงจรที่ไม่จบสิ้น Sixth, recognizing the time การตระหนักในคุณค่าของเวลา The seven, the door to the future ประตูสู่อนาคต
In the darkness and chaos of this world, where do I find the guiding light?
Step into the light. Fill yourself with might.
Come join us on this journey to reveal the secrets of the universe. Accompanied by Sister Dennis from the UK and Sister La from Thailand. So, hello, I'm Prachul Bosley, and I bid you all a very warm welcome to the third episode of this series, The Silent Union. If you have not watched the previous episodes, please find the link in the description. On this journey, we'll be accompanied by a very experienced traveler, Sister Dennis. For those who have not met Sister Dennis yet, she comes from the UK. And as you will see, she's a walking encyclopedia of Eastern wisdom, and she shares it so beautifully. So, I'd also like to say that she has embraced Raja Yoga meditation from the Brahma Kumaris at the age of 23. Since then, she has traveled across the globe, enlightening audiences with a unique depth of knowledge and wisdom. Sister Dennis is among the few pioneer thinkers of our generation. We also have another pioneer thinker, Sister La, with us from Thailand. I would now invite Sister La to welcome Sister Dennis to this session.
Welcome back to Thailand for Silent Union, to reveal the secrets of your life through your own connections, Sister Denise. At the moment, I know that you are in Munich, Germany. Last episode, you were in San Francisco, USA. Where is next? Sister Denise is such a wonderful gift of Brahma Kumari World Spiritual University to travel the world with wings of love and good wishes. Hope one day you can land into Thailand. We are looking forward to. Once Daddy Jangdu, our former administrative head, said we need the power to remain silent, we receive power to remain silent. The power we receive from silence brings love, and love makes us like angels. Today we will experience silent union. Silence is the language of angels to communicate with God. The first two episodes, Dennis kindly gave us two key of enlightenment, the light between the eyes, then the alpha point, for this silent union today. So welcome again. Let us all welcome Special Angel Denise Lawrence.
Thank you so much, Sister La. And it is my great pleasure to be here. Of course, we travel through the world, we travel through the silent time, we travel through space. And when you are in spiritual practice, then you become interested in the inner world. And so today we're going to look at the silent union. And the practice that we do is called Raja Yoga. And yoga is a word from India, a Sanskrit word that means to join, to come together, to commune. And so this session is about the communion between the deep inner self, the soul, and the supreme being, the higher power, the energy that is behind the universe that we see, the one who is mysterious, the unknown, the discarnate one. I think it would also be safe to say this one is beyond the grasp of all the traditions, religions, philosophies, theories, because this one is not part of the material universe, the physical world. In some traditions, they say God is spirit, which is very true. But then to understand, to grasp, to connect, to commune, and to draw energy from that source. And this is what we want to talk about today. We have looked already at the self. We have looked already at the self, and we are practicing to be a soul who is manifest through the physical body. And this is how we normally function with each other. And now we want to go inside, because to make this journey, to make this silent union, we need to do this by stepping away from the external universe. Think about this. Everything that you see and hear and touch and taste and smell through the five senses is actually registered in your mind. We have the experience that we are feeling, apprehending, experiencing the external world out there in the external world. But once you start analyzing it and understanding the functioning of consciousness, you begin to realize that it's actually happening on the inside, no matter what. For example, in your inner world, if you close your eyes, you can still see many pictures in your mind. And when you close your eyes, it doesn't mean that you're shutting out the external world and thus coming into the inner world. There's something more subtle that needs to be done to enter the inner world. When you shut your eyes, you're still connected with the outside world. It doesn't really work. And in our practice of Raj Yoga, we actually go to the inner world and operate in the inner world, but with the eyes open, with all the senses able to pick up and receive sensory input from the material world. But the difference is that we turn our attention within. So our attention is focus. We use the instrument of consciousness that we call the intellect to focus attention. And because people are very much under the influence of sense perception, our default position is to be externally oriented. And so our practice is that even while everything is there in the external world, we practice to turn the attention within and connect ourself with ourselves. So the energy of the mind is looping back upon itself, and your attention is focused back upon you, the self, the soul, the source. We need to do this first before we can take the second step. So the second step is to orient our attention beyond the material world. Sometimes I use the analogy of a donut. Everybody knows a donut, this round sweet pastry that people love to eat. And I use the donut because it's an interesting analogy for the inner space. If you think of the donut as the whole universe, and the hole in the donut is your inner world, and then the space that is on the outside of the donut is the space beyond the material world. So you can see very clearly with the donut that it's the same space. You go in or you go out, you're going to the same space. But in terms of practice, if we would just go out, we would really still stay in the material universe. And this is what space exploration is all about. Going out and out as far as possible, the planets, beyond the solar system, but we're still within the material universe. So in order to reach another dimension, we must turn within and focus our attention on the self, because the self is spirit. The dimension beyond the material world is not spirit, but sometimes it is called the sixth element of light. So traditionally, the material universe is said to be made up of 5 elements: air, earth, water, fire, and then ether. And so ether is outer space, air, earth, water, fire. We have this in the visible planet Earth. And even the human body is made up of all of these things. Fire is considered your digestion, which transforms your food into physical energy. But then people also speak of the sixth element of light. And the sixth element of light is really this other dimension. We call it the world of the souls. We call it nirvana. Nirvana is quite a well-known word. And the literal meaning of nirvana is the place where there is no sound. So it's a world of silence. And this session is described as the silent union, because the soul will withdraw from the dimension of sound and action to the inner world, which is beyond space and time. It's the world of pure being. So you go inside and you experience what you are before you ever came into action through the body. And so the quintessential characteristics of the soul are also 5: purity, peace or silence or stillness, power, love, and bliss. These are the 5 essential qualities of the soul. So when you're meditating, the first thing is to turn within and to know that, yes, what I actually am is a spiritual being made up of these 5 quintessential qualities. And I have within myself a role that I play through the body, which is my costume. But to go into meditation, I will just withdraw through my thought into my inner world of stillness. And from there, just with a thought, I project myself out into the world beyond the material world, which is called the world of light, the world of silence, nirvana, the region of light. The soul is light. The region is like golden red light, and the soul flies there through thought. Why? Why do we go there? Because there is where the Supreme Being exists. And people often ask this question, where is God? What is God? What is God doing? How do we know that there is something like that? And there are so many concepts, so many beliefs in this world, but there isn't full clarity, there isn't full agreement. But one thing that I can say pretty much all the traditions are agreed on, and that is that source, that force, that Supreme Being is light. Non-physical, discarnate light, which is also a being with awareness, consciousness. This is a soul who doesn't have a body. We are all souls with bodies. In order for us to recognize each other, we recognize each other through our body's face. But when you die, you leave your face behind. And then you're just pure consciousness. Your identity goes with you, but your face stays behind. Your body cannot go with you. Your body is perishable, but you are not. You belong in connection and relationship with that Supreme Being. And so, if you belong, then what do you want? You want to meet. So yoga is the silent union, the quiet internal meeting of I, the soul, with this one, the mother, the father, the beloved, the teacher, the guide, the friend of souls. This is the one that people call by many names. We use the word God, the Supreme Being, the Source, the Force. Sometimes people say, does that one have a name? Is there a name? We all have names, but our names are given to us when we get born. Our parents or priests, they say, this one will be called such and such. But beyond that, our name is just soul. So souls do not interact with each other without bodies. But with this, it is soul to Supreme Soul, that beautiful meeting, beautiful interaction. And the soul is just soul, but the Supreme Soul has a beautiful name, the name of Shiva. Shiva, which is an attributive name. Shiva means the dot, the point of light, because this is the form of the soul, infinitesimally tiny point of light, containing infinite power, infinite energy, infinite love, infinite knowledge. And so this word Shiva also means the benefactor, because everything that is contained within the being of Shiva is for us, not for anyone else, for us humanity, us, the people, the creatures, the elements of matter, everything that we love, everything that we call home on the earth, all of that is the beneficiary of that benefactor. So Shiva, the point, the benefactor. Shiva also means the seed of the universe, the seed of knowledge, the seed which knows and contains everything there is to know about this world that we live in, about humanity, about our time on this earth, about who we are and what we have been doing throughout the never-ending cycle, which we will hear details about later. But now we want to meet the seed, the benefactor, the point, the essential one who is our provider, our inspiration, our source. Why do we need this? Why are we so drawn to find this one? I think anyone who participates in this series does so because we're motivated to know. We want to know truth. We want to know answers to unanswerable questions. We want to know, is there someone out there for us? We want to know, what does it all mean? We want to know, where is it all going? And if you look around at the world today, what do you see? Uncertainty, insecurity, infrastructures that seemed previously to be so solid now do not seem so clear, and they all seem to be breaking apart. And so we feel also insecure. And we feel, I think most of us, that we need strength to get through difficult coming times. I think everyone is aware that we are in difficult times. And we don't know where it's going. And we want to know. Indeed, we have a right to know. And so we are motivated to go, to meet, to find out, to know, to study, to sustain ourselves. I think what we also are aware is that what motivates us to connect with this source is we feel internally depleted. It may be that I, the soul, am the quintessence of purity, peace, power, love, and bliss, but Do we feel it all the time? Do we experience that we're able to meet all the challenges that come through this inner treasures, this inner resources that we should be able to use, we should be able to have access. But when you go deep inside, in times of crisis, in times of challenges, in times of sickness, and times when things fall apart, things break down, we find we don't have what we want to have to manage it. And so this is why we say, I need access to the Supreme Source. Sometimes you hear people say that they feel that conventional religion has failed them. Sometimes you hear that people don't like the description of God that is given because it makes you afraid. It makes you think that you will be rejected, punished, diminished. But in reality, this one is not like that. What causes us to experience these kinds of ideas is, I think, the knowledge of karma, and we will look at that later on. It's very important information. And in this world, we need to know this. And the knowledge of the laws of karma are contained within this seed. And this is why our relationship with this one is with the teacher, the greatest teacher there is, who lets us know exactly what the laws of spirituality are and how they work. And why do we need to know this? Is so that we can function, taking all this into consideration. Science and technology have given us a full awareness of the laws of matter. And because of that, we have developed technology and science to the highest degree. But what we don't have, and what we have not been able to find out, is what are the laws that govern the spirit? What are the laws that govern the relationships between and among souls on this earth, between us and the natural world, and above all, the laws that govern the relationship between us and the Creator, between us and the Source, the Force, the Supreme Being, the Mother, Father of the family of humanity. And once you start to consider this relationship, then you have to consider the relationship between and among people is changed. Because in this world, we divide people up into nationalities and races and colors, languages, all these different divisions. We say us and them, the other. But when everyone becomes aware that we are connected with each other because of our relationship with that source, it changes our relationship to each other. And that changes how we function, how we operate, how we look at each other. So what does this one teach? Teaches us to see the soul, and teaches us to see with the inner eye. The inner eye, we also call this the third eye. The third eye of wisdom, the eye with which I, the soul, can see the discarnate, the invisible, the Supreme One, the eye with which I can travel on the vehicle of thought outside the known universe and enter the world of light and meet my dear, beloved friend, my mother, father of my being, who is always there for me. This one knows each and every one of us. This one knows our past, present, and future. We do not know how we became the way we became, and we do not know what we are becoming. When the soul is in contact and communion with the Supreme Being, what exactly happens? One analogy that you might like to think about is when you put an almond, a dry almond, into a glass of water and you leave it there overnight. What happens by the morning? That almond has become fat and juicy, and the skin comes off easily, and then you eat the nut, which is tasty and nutritious and is very good food for the brain. The process of that almond absorbing the water into itself in scientific terms is called osmosis. And yoga, some aspects of yoga is like that. Think about the Supreme Soul not only as the infinitesimal point of light, but also the infinite ocean of peace. And what is the first thing that you want? The first thing to allay your concerns, your anxiety. I think most people live in a state of low to high grade anxiety. So what do you want is peace. So you can go in the mind to that world of light, just a thought away, and visit the ocean of peace. Just imagine yourself as this tiny point of light who is a little empty and you want to fill. So you just go and soak in this massive ocean of peace and just float there. Open yourself and just allow that peace to come in and flood your being and just soak there for some time. This is also meditation, so easy. And we have every right to use whatever analogy suits our mental functioning, because these experiences that you have when you're in communion with that one are beyond the material world, but yet our mind is used to thinking about something when it's like something else. Like, for example, on a computer, they say, oh, you know, what's this? This is a mouse. Actually, it's not a mouse. It's a little thing that looks like a mouse. And other mice, they have long tails which are connected to the computer, but nowadays you have tailless mice, but they're still called mouse because it looks like a mouse. And so the mind operates by analogy, language operates in a similar way, and you have words in your language that sound like what they mean. And this is onomatopoeia, but when you want to explain something which is beyond the material dimension, then you need to use comparisons and analogies and metaphors. After all, we are all poets, aren't we? And God is the greatest poet of all. So he will say, come and bathe in the ocean of me, the ocean of peace. And then you will say, yes, peace is very good, but what I really need is love. What is love? It is a huge sustaining energy that allows you to be in your fullness. It is to receive whatever you need to the fullest extent. Because when the soul feels this whole in its being, I say it for a soul. What is a soul? What gender is a soul? It's not female, it's not male, but it's not an object either. Even in our language, we do not have a pronoun that applies to a soul. So very often we say it. God says he. A soul is a he. Why is the soul a he? Again, it's because of the analogy. Those in the world we live in who are in male bodies have rights, especially rights to an inheritance, the property of the Father. God is called the Father because there's property involved. What is the property? We can say that the ocean of peace, the ocean of love, the ocean of wisdom, the ocean of knowledge, this is the property of God. And I, the soul, as his son, have rights to the entire property. But then I also need to learn how to use the property. We can also say that the Supreme One is the owner of the universe. So that too is my legacy. That one gives us full power over the world. And he says, now you must learn how to use your power. And the first way to use your power is to use power over yourself. Whenever anyone does something against their conscience, and that happens more or less every day, we do little things that we say, oops, I shouldn't have done that, or ooh, I shouldn't have said that, or oh, I shouldn't have taken this thing personally. We make mistakes. Why? Why? Not because we're bad. How can a soul who is quintessentially pure, peaceful, powerful, blissful, loveful, and peaceful be bad? That's not possible. Fundamentally, we are good. So we don't have a moment of badness, but what we do have is a moment of weakness. So anytime we do anything which we would say is not right, is because we are depleted, because we are weak. And so what we need is to become strong, to take from that source everything that we had lost, that we had used because passing through time, what happens to us? We get tired, we get weak, we get depleted. And so we can say that at this time, we are at our weakest. And this is why we desire, we wish to connect with that source. And this is why we wish to draw that power into ourselves. And so this one, Shiva, the seed, the benefactor, the point, this one we have to connect to. Another analogy that you can think of is a laser beam. You know, light, any source of light, the rays go in all directions. But when you have a laser light, the rays are parallel. And this is why it's very intense. So we must use this analogy of a laser beam to take the radiance of either soul. My radiance is going in all directions, but I need to concentrate, focus on myself, and then focus on that one who is beyond this world, in the world of light. And then all the energy of my being is concentrated in a line of light which connects to that point of light. So you're creating something like a pipeline. Maybe we can also use another analogy of technology, because for communications technology, we have to have signals, and these are lines of energy that bounce off satellites, because the curvature of the earth doesn't allow us to send a signal horizontally. We have to go up and then down again. And in the same way for us, our communication with the Supreme Being has to go up, and then we connect like a pipeline and lock on, you know. I think you might have sometimes seen the military or police helicopters which have a searchlight, and they will be maybe chasing a criminal. And when they find that criminal, they will lock their light. And even if the criminal is running away or whatever, the light is locked on that person, and then they can track him or her. So in the same way, we have to look on to the Supreme Being of light, and then open the pipeline so that that energy flows through that pipeline and comes into my being. A more down-to-earth analogy of that would be when you plug your cell phone into the electricity to charge up the battery. And this is an analogy that is often used for yoga, that I, the soul, am like a battery who is flat, and I need to charge my battery so that I can function properly. And just like a smartphone has so many different apps, but none of them will work if there's no power. And so because the soul is so depleted at this time, what are you looking for all the time? You're looking for your charger, and you're looking for some electric socket to plug it into. But the soul cannot get charged up by that electricity. It's a different power that we need. We need to connect in with the power of the Supreme Being, which is spiritual power. And so we have to our charger is this focusing of the self on the self. We call this soul consciousness. And then in a single thought, you just project your mind upwards, outwards, and beyond, and you link to that point of light. And when you're connected, the current flows. And you know you're connected because the current is flowing. And then it's a matter of just staying locked on. But this is a very subtle connection. The soul is very subtle. The Supreme Soul is very subtle. And our default condition is really very gross. So one thing that we must do is to practice to make ourselves progressively more and more subtle. So there are many things that we do to help this. One is to frequently meditate, frequently connect, because every time you connect, you get a little bit of power, and you actually need power to get power. Also, we look at our thinking. If our thinking is very negative or very gross, then we cannot easily bring the mind into a subtle state because we stay too long in a gross state. So we have to practice in different ways to do this. So let us spend a little time now and just practice to create that connection. And I will show you how to use thought to bring the self gently, first of all, into soul consciousness, and then stay focused, internalized, and then how we use thought to take the self beyond this material world and connect to the source, open up, and then draw that energy into the self. And I'm going to play some music for this because every little bit helps, and music corresponds to brainwaves in some ways, or we select music that does, and then you can just as it were piggyback along my thoughts. Just take a few breaths. Let yourself become a little quieter. Turn your mind within. Consider yourself to be a tiny point of light, like a star. Your seat is the center of the forehead. Just gently bring all the energy of your being, this point of light. Feel that your body is like a big cave. Feel that tiny light out through the eyes, your sounds through the ears, through the mouth. Just feel yourself to be actually quite distinct from your material body. And as you feel this, you have entered the inner world. You are now soul conscious. You feel yourself and know yourself as a peaceful being of light, loving, pure, powerful, but yet deep. The thoughts just rise above your body a few inches. You are outside your body sitting down perfectly okay. Now you are like a rocket, tiny light flying. Fly above building where you are to the sky, the clouds, like a rocket. Us, the air blanket that surrounds you. And now you are in space. You are in the dark night of space. Stars, planets are visible. You fly past the moon, past the sun, go out of the solar system into the vast firmament of space. So vast, earth behind you, how free, and you continue high speed. End of dark space. Those angels you cross over into the world of light. Beyond you are of light all around, light upon light, beautiful golden light. You are light, total silence. sweet peace. And there you see that light waiting for you, like a long rose friend with open heart, warm being of pure light, radiating beautiful feelings of love. You feel completely safe, completely accepted, completely loved, and you let yourself sink into that beautiful heart, or immerse in an ocean of love, gentleness, strength, sweetness, and beauty. Every pore of your being lights up. A huge wave of light and love enters your being, filled with light. Silent communion, just absorbing, still completely relaxed, fully aware. I felt good and found your own can come here anytime. For now, gently let yourself withdraw from that world of light and return back down through space. Return to body. Reconnect. Feel how much the boat have completed a beautiful journey to the world of light, of the silent union with the one above, the seed, the benefactor, the point, Shiva. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, sister. That was so beautiful, and it was so clear the way you explained about the Supreme Soul known as Shiva, and Shiva being the dot. And in many religions, it's said that they used to say that God is light and God is energy. And then there's also been said that God is one. Everybody says, all religions say that God is one. But on the other hand, it's also said that God is omnipresent. And that creates certain confusion, that creates a confusion. And what's your take on that?
You know, the sun is in one place, but all of us receive the sunlight, the sun warmth. But we say it's a sunny day, we say it's beautiful weather. And then when clouds come over in the daytime, then it's not so bright. And so we say it's dull. But the light is there behind the clouds, definitely. And then when it's night, then we see the moon. I think today is still a full moon. And that's the light of the sun reflected, but we are around the other side of the earth, so it's dark. But the sun is in one place, and in the same way, God can be in one place, but the energy, the light, the love, the purity, the vibrations and the radiance can be felt everywhere. All you have to do is be tuned in. And I think this is why people who got themselves tuned in, they said, oh, it is everywhere. And they thought it is everywhere, but it was really a feeling. But now we know more. We know the reality that God is somewhere, someone, some source, and yet so powerful that that can be felt everywhere. All you have to be is tuned in, like to a radio station. If you're tuned in, you can hear it. If you're not tuned in, you can't. So union is a communion or a communication between the soul and God, and you can do it anywhere, anytime, any part of the world. You are in Thailand, I am in Germany, but because of communications technology, we feel like we're in the same room. And it's the same way with God. You can connect, and so you feel, yes, I am with him, he is with me. We go beyond distance, we go beyond geography. We operate with the mind.
That's very beautiful. It cleared out that, okay, God is one. And the feeling of omnipresent that we have is because just like the sun, the rays are being radiated and then reflected, and that's what we get to see. You mentioned, sister, that the Supreme Soul, Shiva, lives in the soul world. So what is the soul world made of? And what are the laws that are that govern when we, the soul, connect with the Supreme Soul in the soul world?
This whole world is outside the material universe, so the physical laws don't apply, but there are spiritual laws, and these are laws to do with purity. When the soul is pure, there's nothing to stop the soul connecting with God. What gets in the way is contamination through sorrow, through aggression, through different kinds of character defects. And so practicing to really be what you are and to not be the opposite of what you are makes it possible to enter there. The soul world is a place that is completely pure. The place where God is as pure as God is. And when we go there, we're actually purified. So it will actually cause impurities that are within us to fall out. And we experience a change that takes place gradually over long periods of meditation. There is an actual change that takes place in the soul. You become gradually more pure. It's more easy to go there, to stay there. And then when you come back, you're also radiating that energy of purity and actually becoming an agent of change in this world, which is really quite an impure place, actually. So that light of the soul world is very different from this world.
Very well, sister. And sister, then what is the soul world made of? Is it made of, because they say that, is it made of the qualities, or what is, you mentioned peace, you mentioned purity. What else is the soul world made of?
Well, the soul world isn't made of anything. It's a self-luminous space, just like the space around the earth is called the ether, or it's a vacuum, there's nothing there, we call it ether. So the soul world is also, there's nothing there, but it's not dark like space, it's light, it's got its own light. So it's a different kind of space, but it's space. Quite difficult for people to think about, but use your imagination, take the information and work with it, think about it, and you'll get a feel for it.
So when you were explaining, I had a beautiful, I connected the analogy that you mentioned, the almond analogy, the dry almond that you told about, how when you soak a dry almond in the water overnight and then in the morning it's all fat and the skin of it is easily peeled off. So I connected it to being in body consciousness, the skin to be body consciousness. And when we are absorbed in that light, of the Supreme Soul with practice again and again and again, it's very easy to get soaked in the same purity, in that same peace, in the same quality as the Supreme Soul. And that imagination was very, very good to stay with. So that was very beautiful. Thank you, sister.
And you see how it falls off. Just comes away.
Yeah, the more you think about it, the more you kind of understand it better. And with that, I would also like to ask Sister La if there are any questions from the Thai audience side, if she really want to share it with Sister Dennis.
Dennis, sister, I left you with the feeling that you're an angel flying all over the places. So, and also I mentioned that silence is the language of angel. And you really make us feel quite silent. But again, you know, when you mention about the word of silence, the supreme abode, where we have to make a connection vertically, when you have to make a journey upward to really connect with the supreme. Can you just say a few more words about what for you that supreme energy really is and how you experience it manifesting in you and in your life? So.
You know, I experience when I'm connected, it's very similar to the picture that you have behind you, because I experience this intense light that comes as rays, but I also experience pulsations, slow pulsations that reach me. And with every pulsation, it's like I get a wave of the ocean, and it washes over me with light. So waves of light that are filled with energy. And every time the wave hits me, I am energized and filled up. And then another one comes and does it again and again and again. And you just hold yourself steady and focus and let those rays pierce you and fill you and let those pulsations wash over you. And you become something different. You become someone different because you're returning to who and what you were initially and essentially. And because you experience these, you know you're connected. You know, one very beautiful aspect of meditation is to speak to that one in your mind. Because when you are with someone, just in love, you don't have to say words physically, but you think thoughts. And the relationship with God is in your mind, is in your heart, and so you feel and you say words that keep you close, and sometimes you even experience a reply, and it's a two-way thing. You feel, you get reply, you get a response, you get insights, touchings. It's really a complete being to being relationship, but this is a human being to supreme being, because God is not a human. We are humans, and so for a human to be in communion with someone who's higher than a human is something new, something different, something maybe could be scary for some people, I suppose. But when you feel so much love, then you don't feel any barrier.
That's why the secret of your life is revealed by your connection. You have just a deep connection with the Supreme. But now we're talking about the secret of the universe will be revealed through our own reflection. But again, we know that the second key of enlightenment, we talk about alpha point. The secret of the universe will be revealed through him. As it says, when you know God as alpha, you know everything. So it depends, though, a lot on you to believe in God. I live in the country, such a Buddhist country, that they believe in God. So how can they really so believe in the land of nirvana and beyond sounds? And now we have to just make all of us feel the silent union in a way that that land is belong to everyone. So it's being the one who's higher than human is there, who has intense energy and who loves the world and humanity. How can you help people to understand God in their way, in their words, in their culture, in their way of belief, so believe in nirvana? Can you just elaborate on that a little bit? That nirvana, the land beyond sound, and then you make connection in such a silent union.
Well, in Buddhism, there is one thing, one practice that is done, which is to let go and to fall into the abyss. And we hold on so much to physicality. But in Buddhism, there is this practice of letting go and going beyond, and so much attention on pure karma. And the is that at the end of life, if you have done very pure karma, then you will go into that light. The only thing that was not identified is that there is someone there in that light. It's not just light, but there's also a light within that light. So we just add this one little bit, and there you have it. A little step.
But I know that everyone loves silence. Me myself is the whole life of mine is yearning to silence. So far, I've been using this knowledge, spiritual knowledge, to get back to silence. What is the difference between silence and peace? And people believe in peace, but then I don't know how to make a difference between silence and peace.
You know, there is the Indian word shanti, and it's one word in the Hindi language, but in English, we would translate it by three words. One is stillness, one is peace, and one is silence. And because we have three words, we look at different aspects of it. Um, and I think it helps us to play with the idea, because in meditation, one meaning of meditation is to ponder and think deeply about the deeper meaning of some of these words, and to think about silence as stillness, as peace, as no sound, as quiet, as, we take all the different words that we have for this and roll it around in our minds. And this actually is a way to enter into that dimension of silence through thinking. And by thinking in this way, you arrive at feeling. And when you can feel it, then you know it. You say, yes, I know what it means to be me. I know what it feels like to be a soul at peace, because you've been there, you've experienced it. I know. Then you can say, I was there. I know what it is.
Well,
Called,
yeah, thank you. But
yeah.
is that the thing that you really make effort for? Because you have a different experience connected with God and have that language of silence playing in your mind. But when you live in the life before coming into this knowledge and knowing, connecting with God as He is, what is your relationship with silence? Because your world is full of sounds and information and knowledge and all these. And then what is your relationship with silence at that time? And what could silence do for you?
Actually, I'm a solitary person and a silent person, and I live most of the time in silence.
Ah,
And yeah, I have the possibility, most of what I do by myself. I write, I work with video editing and all of these things. So I mean, I talk, and when I talk, it's for something like this. And then the rest of the time, I'm quiet, or I go for walks by myself into nature and I'm quiet there. And my whole life has been like this. And in fact, when I was very young, I was trying to find absolute silence, and I eventually did find it. But it was way out in the Sahara Desert in Africa. And as soon as I went there and felt it, I said, right, I have silence, but what I'm interested really is inner silence. And inner silence is different from external silence. And external silence you can get, but it's very impractical, because always there's at least some airplane passing or a train passing or the sound of traffic or something going on. If you're in nature, there's all kinds of insects and birds and so on, but there's a very harmonious sound. The human sounds are rather cacophonous, but inner silence is concerned with what kind of thoughts are going around in your mind. And if you have negative thoughts, anxious thoughts, or that, then that's not silence. But when you have deep, pure, meaningful thoughts, that's silence of the mind. Yeah.
that's just beautiful because your experience is such, we hope that we can have extra keys to get into your secret of your life. But then, you know, you, as I know that I'm yearning for silence, and there's still so far I have so much to make effort for. But in general terms, the people who listen to this episode, how can you how can you help them to bring more silence into their daily life?
Well, you know, when you meditate, one of the things you get is extra power. And the power that you get makes it possible for you to manage pain, distress, disturbance, unfairness, different kinds of unpleasantness. You can manage it. And once you can manage it, then you can be easy in yourself because you can manage it. And that is an accumulation of power. So this is why what we find is I have to regularly meditate.
I
And
meditate.
quality meditation, and we need food for thought, so we need to study, we need to have input so that the mind has got worthwhile things to ponder on, and then that takes you into that stillness.
But at that point of time that you're looking for, or you make effort for, or you're naturally searching for that silence, solitude, and so on and so forth, and then actually silence is effective communication, because true connection is true communication. You cannot just keep quiet, not talking and not thinking. You think at this moment of time, can we just help people to start from really a point of inner stillness, as you say? Speak every word, think every thought, carry out every action with complete attention. Is that the way we can also look at silence?
Yes, but then sometimes if you say complete attention, that becomes stressful. So I think the word peace is nice because you can talk peacefully and that's silent. But if you just don't talk, that can be horrible.
Yeah.
And so this is why peace is nice, you know, and to gentle and soft. And these are words that correspond with it. Because sometimes in communication, people are harsh, people can be cutting and hurt the heart, you know, but when you're strong, you can be soft, you can be open, you know, and most people are wounded inside, you see, and so there's a question of a kind of healing of the soul that takes place. So that's another area. Yeah.
I love the word healing. Healing. All right. Now we have to just say goodbye to you, but we have to have this last question, if I may. We must create a fresh quietness, right? And never allow any noise or demanding of life creating noise inside. We must observe more. We must speak less. Think before thinking, as Daddy was keep saying. Wait, allow silence to emerge, and stop thinking on emotion. So this is what I would love to be with you at the last moment. Is there anything else that you can suggest to Thailand, the land that loves peace? But so far, I think everyone have to face reality, have to make effort for silence.
Well, I think also we need to be kind to the self and to not be too hard on ourselves. Some people, they want to be a bit extreme in their spiritual practice, and then they end up getting far away from the real feeling of connection. So we need to be gentle, kind, tolerant with ourselves, compassionate with ourselves. Self-compassion is very important.
Very nice, very nice. So, Sister Pashwa, thank you very much for organizing things. Brother Shai is behind. And I would love to just say goodbye to Sister Denise. With so much faith in you that you are such an angel. And you really teach us, how to be gentle. It's really a time to be gentle and really a time to be angel like you. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say, Prachwa?
No, it was a very beautiful session, and thank you so much for the clear understanding of the silent union. Just the last, on last note, I would like to know, are we already in the silent union and we just forget this union, or we have to now at this point do the silent union?
Actually, I would say that when we're connected with ourselves, we're naturally connected in the silent union, but we're mostly disconnected from ourselves. So the effort is to be truly ourselves, and then we can be in the silent union, which is a natural progression from that.
Thank you for this connection.
Yes, thank you.
We look forward to having you for the next episode, The Justice of Karma. So be prepared. I don't know where next we should really run after you, or where you fly to. Okay.
Here, yeah, I think
You're going to be there. I see. Okay. You have the same silent union living in Germany or USA or anywhere else? Is that the same feeling you have?
Outside is always crazy, noisy, COVID-19, race riots, all that going on in the disturbances, cars, pollution, but inside, silent.
That's why you're here for us and for the whole world. We hope that this episode will go out around the world as I wish and as your good wish is spreading really. Thank you very much, Sister Denise. More than words can say anything.
Thank you. Thank you, both of you and everyone. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Today we have learned about the benefits of practicing silence. Here is my list, which is quite amazing. I never realized until now just how much it has helped me. Silence humbles arrogance into silence. Silence neutralizes the urge to defend myself. In silence, I learn to speak through my eyes. Silence ends confusion. Silence guides me to the second point inside. Silence blesses the soul with awareness. Silence facilitates God's flow of power. Silence heals the mess created by extremes. Silence surrounds me to acknowledge impurity and transform it with love. So let's get to the point where we experience that silent union. Let's call meditation after some reflection. I am determined to pay full attention. No margin, no distraction. Remembering the origins of the self. Remembering only the one. With all my mind, with all my heart, I am absorbed, concentrated. In this state of being, I feel at one with the one, connected, tuned in. This transformative silence generates peace. In peace, I can discern, be clear, learn, and change.